Welcome to the Unshakable Growth. I'm Esti, and let's get started. Welcome back to the Unshakable Growth. Today I have an incredibly inspiring guest, Mario. So, Mario is the founder of Healthetica, specializing in run, wellness, and corporate coaching. Mario's journey is nothing short of remarkable. He has transformed from a triple XL size into an ultra trail runner, embodying resilience and determination. Now, as a coach, he's helped others to build their own strength and endurance, both mentally and physically. Join us as we dive into his story of transformation and the mindset that fuels his mission to inspire resilience. Welcome to my podcast, Mario.
Thank you, Esti. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. I'm glad that you said yes to come into my podcast session.
No, it's a real pleasure. It's nice to share some good stories.
Yeah. First off, I just wanted to start because I know you from our public speaking boot camp, and previously you did share that you were previously in a triple XL size, and now that you have become what we can see on the screen right now, you are also an ultra trail runner. So, can you share a little bit on what sparked your decision to transform and becoming the best version of yourself now?
I'm still working on the best version, but we're on. Yeah, I think we're on track. No, no, thank you. I'm really truly humbled by what you said about me, and yeah, I can't really remember how many X's it was. At some stage you kind of just after XL you kind of just it's just tough to grasp, and you don't realize where you're going and what you're doing. So obviously I had a
Mm-hmm,
bit of a different lifestyle back then. I was traveling the
mm-hmm,
world installing machinery as a service engineer, and all you do is work hard every day, and then at night you have to kind of uh, eat something and also drink, and that just
mm-hmm,
gets a little bit too much. I was also heavy into smoking cigarettes, and yeah, and just over time in my 20s and early 30s, it got a bit too much. And once my daughter was born, I think that's the first spark. So I stopped smoking,
mm-hmm.
because I thought obviously that's not a healthy household to grow up in.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I think the next step was then to say, okay, now we need to kind of get fit, because you're in your
Mm-hmm.
30s and you can't even walk 100 meters without being out of breath. So I think, yeah, having a daughter and wanting to spend a lot of my life with her, that's definitely a reason, or the biggest reason, to be honest. And also, my wife as well. She deserves a husband that looks after himself. So yeah, that's the thing. And running is usually the easiest way to start
Mm-hmm.
losing weight, because it doesn't cost
Yeah.
anything. So that's how it started. Yeah, about 16, 17 years ago now, I think. So, yeah.
Wow. And was there a defining moment that actually sparks you to start transforming?
Yeah, yeah. I think that time when we got an invite to go to Switzerland. So I lived in England at the time. We got an invite to a
Mm-hmm.
wedding, and we had to buy a suit. And then
Yeah.
I entered that suit shop in Morpeth in the northeast of England. I really remember it well. And the lady there said, "Look, people your size need to kind of go over there." And I'm
Oh.
like, "Oh wow, this is not good. That really hurt me really bad." And I'm kind of resilient, as you mentioned the word earlier, to things. I don't really
Mm-hmm.
care that much how people think and whatever, especially if it's negative. I've been brought up that way. Don't worry about what other people think. You need to go to your own way. But that hurt me. And then
Yeah.
also the fact that my daughter, she was young, and she was just running around the shop, and she was running towards the door, and the door was luckily shut, but outside the door was only just a small footpath, and then the cars would have been there. And if that door would have
Oh.
been open, I realized I wouldn't have been able to catch her because I was like too big and too slow. So that, I think, was the defining moment. We got back in the car and I said to my wife, "That's it. I need to do
Yeah.
something. Let's get this bloody wedding over and done with, and then I need to start doing
Mm-hmm.
something." So that was pretty much the defining moment, or the flick of the switch,
Yeah.
as I call it. So
So after when you decide that you want to transform, and that deciding moment actually, like, you know, give you a snap on beside your ear, and it's like, I need to change. So what was the first thing that you did to, start the change? I know running was the thing that you can easily slim down or get fit, but was it difficult, and how was the process of it? Can you share a little bit on that?
Yeah, so starting to run when you're quite big is not easy. I mean, I wasn't that big just then when I did start running because I dieted a little bit, which is the lot, not really dieted, but I cut down on food and drink. But within a few
Mm-hmm.
months of this situation, I kind of got into the gym and ran on a treadmill because I was too embarrassed to run on the road because I didn't want
Oh.
cars looking at me and honking at me, you know. Although, yeah, it was just, yeah, I wasn't ready. So I started running on a treadmill, and that's where it all started, and I fell in love with it. And the thing is, with things like that, and it gets even more extreme as I live now, it suddenly becomes kind of a lifestyle because oh, you want to do a bit of running, you enter the first race, you kind of understand you need to sleep more, you need to eat a bit healthier, and so on. You don't stop living, but you kind of start chipping away. And then for men and women alike, I think once you start losing weight and you'd fit into something you never thought you fit into, it fills you with pride, and you're not going to give up suddenly. You don't need motivation anymore. It's you get driven in a way. I'm not a big fan of motivation. It's when I coach my athletes or when I talk to people when we're building teams and stuff. Motivation
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really last that much, Esty. It's kind of you need to have that inner drive, and then it's much easier. I mean, we see it with what you're doing as well. You've got that drive. You don't need to nobody needs to motivate you to do what you do. You've got that drive, you've got that end goal, and you know what the journey is like. You've got that path, and this is what that was like, and it's not going to stop. It's like, yeah, it becomes part of your life. But there's a lot of people who have similar journeys. I'm not the only one. I
Mm-hmm.
just did it my way, and the right way is whoever is to choose the right way. It takes a long time. If you take time and you give yourself time for anything success, then you'll be okay. So
Yeah. I like how you say motivation is not needed, but it's the drive that actually drives you to, keep doing these things that you want to achieve in life, or whatever it is, right? Um, yeah. How do you find that drive, or is that intrinsic motivation, should I say? Because it kind of similar to me.
you need both. You do need both, but I think
Yeah.
motivation fades away whereas the
Mm-hmm.
drive comes from within you. I'm just comparing how I do things. It's like
Yeah.
I, it's a silly comparison. January, first 2 weeks of January, people are really motivated to do something for their health, right?
Oh, yes.
They,
Yes.
get into the gym, start walking, whatsoever. That's motivation. They're motivated to
Mm-hmm.
do it. They don't have the drive yet to do it. They're just motivated by the fact that they've maybe eaten a little bit too much or had a drink too much or whatever it is, or they got a present or whatever, and they start this. But because things don't kind of click within the first week or two, it doesn't matter what it is,
Mm-hmm.
um, they give up. So motivation can suck it all out of you. I coach my runners to use motivation on race day because it's the
Use
shortest
what
time.
motivation?
Use the motivation on race day. The day you race. So we train for
Uh
six
huh.
months for a specific race. I
Yep.
tend to teach and coach my guys to use motivation on race day because race day is
Mm-hmm.
1 or 2 days depending on how long the race is, right? And that's when you
Yep.
can be motivated because this is what you want to do. Um, and then it uses a lot of energy motivation in a way because if you have to be
Mm-hmm.
motivated every single day, it's quite tough. I mean, some people say they don't need to be motivated. They do it themselves. They use the word motivation as, yeah. I just think drive has a lot more punch behind it. If you've got the drive, then you don't need to think. If my alarm clock goes off at 4:30 in the morning, I just get
Uh-huh.
up, get it done. I don't need to be motivated. My drive is
Yeah.
there because my goals are so big. This is the thing. And I
Mm.
think with all the, it doesn't matter if it's running related or not. It's just
Yeah.
how I see it. Doesn't mean this is the right way or the wrong way. It's just how I see
Yeah.
it. When people
Mm-hmm.
say, "Oh, what gets you motivated?" I'm like, yeah, it's the journey is lovely. The journey of getting somewhere is fantastic already.
Yeah. Amazing. And just now you did mention a bit on you are coaching runners, right? Can
Yeah,
you share a little bit on that? Because like since that you have started pickup running and then eventually became a ultra trail runner, and so now you are actually a running coach, right?
correct. Yes, yeah. So
Yes.
I was made redundant in 2012 from my day job, so I still have a full-time job. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I thought, okay, we're going to do an MBA or something. But then somehow it wasn't for me. I looked it up um, and then I signed up to become a personal trainer. Because I
Mm-hmm.
was already running at the time, I already ran marathons, but then I just had this idea, hold on, I've got this knowledge that I've built myself. I want to kind of pass it on. But before I wanted to become a running coach, I wanted to know more about how the body works, and becoming a personal trainer was a good fit for
Mm-hmm.
me. I was able to do that at night, study during the day, and also look for work during the day. And because it was at night, I was free to start a new job as well. So it didn't have any impact on that. And that's how this whole journey started. Then I became a member of Athletics Australia, did some running certifications there. And since then, I've become an ultra running coach. I've got a certification there. At the moment, I'm also looking at or studying sports endurance or endurance sports nutrition. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then, you can coach people in many ways. I do a lot of things online. I've got people overseas. I know all my runners, so it's not that I just don't know them at all, but I do most of them. And with most of them, I've also run. But there's a lot of online programming you can do. So it's
Mm-hmm.
something I can do in my pastime and over the weekend and in the evening. So it's pretty good. So there's a lot of apps and calendars and programming systems that you can use, and that always
Mm-hmm.
inspired me. I thought, oh, I can do this, and that's when I decided to set that up as a coaching. And then coaching, I'm a big fan of coaching. I do a lot of training at work, train salespeople and things. So I just made the decision to build a small business with my wife, and yeah, that's called Healthetica. Yeah,
Yes.
so it's a this. I'm originally from Switzerland, so the
Mm-hmm.
Latin name for Switzerland is Healthetica with a V. And so I just used
Mm-hmm.
that and put, instead of the V, I put the TH in, so it's Healthetica. So yeah, but not many people know that.
Because like I thought it's an English word, but apparently you
It
said that
is.
it's it,
It is an English
it is.
word, but it
Yeah.
plays with the Swiss name in Latin. Yeah, because in Switzerland officially we're
Ah,
still
okay.
called Confederatium Helvetica, so
Uh-huh.
CH. So our number, if you look in Europe, a lot of the cars have a sticker of the country they're from. So Switzerland has CH, and that stands for Confederatio Helveticum. So
Ah,
that's
okay.
a bit of a
All right.
wordplay. So the
Mm-hmm.
Helveticum I use as Helvetica. So yeah.
Ah, that's so good to know. Yeah, because I never know that it's actually taken from the Swiss background that you have or Switzerland background that you have. Um, so in regards to this Healthetica, is it only specializing in running or because previously I did mention it was including running, wellness, and also corporate coaching? So how would you like
Mhm.
combine all these three together? Because I can relate running and wellness, but in terms of the corporate coaching, it's something that is different from running.
That's correct. Yeah, that's actually a very good question, Esti. It's
Yeah.
in my head, it works together because I've been in customer care environment as a service engineer, project manager, and at the moment I'm like a product manager. So I'm very customer focused,
Mm-hmm.
and I've worked inside customers' places for many years. So when I installed machinery, I was there for months or sometimes years. So you build up this knowledge of what a customer really needs and what a good customer care person does or a service person. So this is where this combination comes in of being in this area for 33 years now. Um,
Wow.
so this is why and coaching is like when you coach people, it's something you give them the right tools and then they can go and do it themselves. So the combination is I give people a running program or a plan for a week to do week after week to reach their
Mm-hmm.
goals. So I know how that journey looks like once I know the human. And the same goes with,
Yeah.
corporate coaching, team building. It can be a small cafe with a team of three. And they say, look, Mario, we just need to see how we can better work with our customers. We get stressed out a lot and so on. So this is where I want to, advise people how to operate. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also a wellness coach, so wellness coach is very similar. You give
Yeah.
someone the tools, to do whatever they want to do. It's not like you're telling them what to do all the time. It's kind of you give them the tools. They have to figure it out themselves. You know that as well. If you figure things out yourself with some tools,
Mm-hmm.
it'll stick. You will not forget.
Yeah. It's like it's already built in your core muscle memory.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's where the
And speak.
combination comes in. And then we have a third pillar, which is nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
So we also have nutrition
Ah.
advice. My wife does a bit of cooking and baking. So when we built the website, we just added a third part. But because I'm studying sports, so I'm not going to be a dietitian or a nutritionist at all. I don't want to step
Mm-hmm.
over anybody's line. That's nutritionists, dietitians, that's a specialty field. But I just want to be
Mm-hmm.
allowed to give people advice how to eat, replenish after a run, during the runs, and these longer events that we do. So ultra marathon is over 42 kilometers,
Wow.
can go up to 300 miles. It doesn't matter. Multi-day events, you need to know how to fuel yourself. I mean, I just ran a race in New Zealand on Saturday. I burned
Mm-hmm.
8,500 calories. You need to understand you're going to be in a you're depleted all the time. So you need to
Yeah.
replenish. And what do you eat is not so
Mm-hmm.
easy to know. Plus, you need to understand how the body works. How does your stomach handle all that kind of stuff? So it's a subject on its own. So I don't want to write menu plans for people for their daily nutrition, but I want to understand what it takes to fuel yourself for bigger events, for runs, everyday nutrition for training. So
Yeah, it's interesting that because it's a whole cycle, right? From running and to eating to replenish your nutrients and all, it's a whole cycle to complete the run itself. Um, just now also we did talk a little bit about resilience when you train your runners. They have to be like really not only motivated but they need that drive, and I believe resilience is also one of the important things that they have to have within themselves to continue that journey of running. So what advice would you give someone in order to build their resilience in their own journey, no matter is it running or not?
I think it's understanding your own yourself. Nobody else can tell you what you have to do. You have to figure this stuff out yourself. To be resilient, you can learn that. Um, in both ways. You have to be resilient at work. It's when it starts hurting, you need to understand, okay, this was uncomfortable. Let's say at work. Someone spoke to you, but it's your boss or whatever it is. They might mean well, but they come across a little bit harsh or whatever. Um, and I think you also need to be resilient at work, kind of pushing your own way through in a positive manner. You know what you need to do. You need to influence upwards, as they say. These are things that you get taught early on, how to influence upwards. Even if you have the best idea, if you don't know how to sell that idea, you give up at the first hurdle. Many good
Mm,
bosses say no to your idea just for the matter of saying no, right? I mean, you must have
yeah.
experienced that. They know it's a good idea, but they want to know, hold on, how's Esty or Mario, how are they going to sell this to me now? Because if they can't sell
Yeah.
it to the boss, how are they going to sell it to the customer? So this is another
Mm.
way of resilience. And then, of course, when it comes to exercise, you need to understand, when it hurts and what you do, because it hurts. Running hurts in a way, not that you're going to break your leg or something, but it hurts because
Yeah.
your legs start aching and all this kind of stuff. It's not a pain, it's just soreness, and you need to understand what you're going through, what your body's going through, and you need to be resilient. It can be raining all the time, it can be cold, it can be hot. You need to deal with it. So, but I think
Yeah.
also in work and also at home, in your family life, things aren't always smooth sailing, of course. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but you're right, you can build all that. But you need to have, it's got to do with experience, I guess. I hope I've answered your
Yeah.
question somehow, but that's just what
Yeah.
works in my brain.
I think I really like how you separate them into the three different sections. So one part was the running. You need to, last for that 42 km or how many miles that you have to run. And then the second part was the at work, you have to influence upward, which I can really relate a lot for myself in terms of my role. So that's a really good advice that I can get there. So I I know I experienced like how bosses always say no for the first time. And yes, I agree that I need to be more resilient in terms of selling my idea and things like that. And the third part will be the family, right? So it's always not always smooth sailing. So you just have to be resilient. Otherwise, everyone will just go into a divorce or things like that. So that's not good.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Look, nothing's ever perfect. Perfection is kind of, it's difficult to reach. We see
Mm,
people and we think they're perfect, but then in the background it might not be that way. Especially the front that people put up. And that's always the danger as well. People put up a front and you think everything's fine, but actually deep down they're not. So
mm,
yeah, the funniest people in the world, have anxiety and uh, are stressed out and have depression and suffer a lot of other things, and they're the funniest people in the world. So we always need to be mindful. They're all
mm,
People can be too really resilient as well. Sometimes we just have to say, okay, enough's enough. It's especially in ultra marathon, there's some tough people
uh-huh,
there that really know how to hurt. And I'm not saying it gets dangerous, but it can get where if you're in that zone, you can go to the
mm,
well and you can go really deep. You can dig yourself into quite a deep hole. And at work the same, huh? You come home, you eat, you go to bed, you go out again the next day. You don't even know that you're in a downward spiral. And this is where I want to help people as well, just
yeah.
understanding where are we on that spiral. It's fine to
Mm-hmm.
be stressed, right? Every
Yes.
doctor will tell you it's
Yes,
good to
that's
be
right.
stressed. That's okay. But where is
Everyone
that
has
red
stress.
line, eh, ST? Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, but that's okay. That's good. It's healthy. But every
Mm,
single day under severe pressure, it's not good. So it's all about giving people the tools to understand within themselves what to do, and how to get out of it. There's a lot of tools we have. We can meditate. We can just sometimes just sit down and yeah, whatever. It's each individual, and this is where I want to try and kind of get that. I'm no doctor or professor or anything. I only have a lot of life experience, and I've shown a few people the path,
mm-hmm.
and it's always nice to see them achieve their goals. But it's all
Yeah.
about the journey. Whatever you do, it's a journey. It's great.
Yeah, that's right. And just now you mentioned about stress, and you just need to know when to stop. So, for example, if you or your runners seen a setback, or they are really stressed, or they think that they can't exceed their own limitations, is there any things that you can do to help yourself to get back to the track?
um They're definitely the signs that I look for in my runners. So even if
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it is digitalized, most of them wear a watch, they upload. I know
Oh,
where the heart rate's at. Um, when I see them run, the ones I know, hold on, they might be a little bit tired. And then I ask some uncomfortable questions. I mean, they're always
mhm.
allowed not to answer. They can answer or not. Is everything okay at
Yeah.
home? Is everything okay at work? It's not being nosy, it's being able to understand. You cannot coach anybody in any discipline. It doesn't matter if it's sports or work if you don't know what's going on with them. I have so often in my younger years made the mistake of assuming everything's okay with someone, but they're not really doing what you think they should be doing, and then you get a little bit angry and stuff. But once you understand, everybody goes through something, everybody has their own story. Um, so, point number one, sorry for the long answer, but understanding who you're dealing with. We're
Yeah.
humans. AI is good, but AI will never take over coaching. I'm convinced because AI doesn't know how to deal with humans, right?
And
AI has
emotions, I
its
believe.
place. Don't get me wrong. They don't know. It's crazy. It's like you cannot. We have emotions, we have a soul, we have a heart, we have feelings. We're just a soft,
Mm,
squishy matter. That's all we are. And this is what you're coaching. You're coaching a human, huh? And
yeah.
this is the main part. This is the important
Mm,
part. And then once you have that understanding, I mean, look, I'm not saying I know everybody's private life. That's not important.
mm,
But I need to know what's going on. And if everything's okay, then stress level comes down. I can see in someone's heart rate when they run if something's not right. It's
oh,
it's just how it is.
it's,
If the heart rate's 10 or 15 beats higher than it should be, then
yeah.
there's something wrong. They're either getting sick or they've not slept enough or
Mm-hmm.
stress at work or stress at home. And yeah, you can see a lot,
Wow.
not everything, but then
Yeah.
feedback is also very important. If someone tells me today was not a good run, then we talk about it, and then we find out there's
Mm,
maybe some underlying things. My baby has kept me awake for the last 3 nights and all this kind of stuff. So
yeah. And those things actually reflect on the heart rate or the watch that they are wearing.
yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
mean, there's so much technology is good to a certain extent,
yeah.
but I'm still a big
Mm,
fan of, let's say, you tell me, Mario, today I'm not having a good day. Let's say we have a coaching session for whatever it is
mm,
at
yeah.
work, and you're just not having a good day. And then we do something different. You can do that with running, you
Mm,
can do that with any other exercise. That's what a coach is about. You come in, and if you already assume everything and you're not listening, then you're going to fail. If we would, let's say, work together, hypothetically speaking, for work, it's
yeah.
like, okay, where are we today? How are we doing? Oh, things aren't great. I've missed that. I couldn't do the homework, whatever, for whatever reason, doesn't matter. And then we just change this up and we'll still get a good day out of it. And this is what it's about, being flexible and,
Yeah.
and making changes to making the right tweaks. It's all about
Mm,
understanding one another. Very important.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds so positive right there. Like, because you have to understand each other's requirements and needs, no matter is it coaching or just daily life interaction, right? So yeah, that's really good. And in terms of for your Healthetica, do you currently have any specific goals, or what would you like to achieve with your current company that you set up recently?
Oh, look, the objectives are, to grow it. I
Mm-hmm.
would really love this to be my sole work at some stage in the next few years. We met at the Speakers Institute, so this is something I'm very passionate about, being in front
Mm-hmm.
of an audience, getting that, you know, getting
Yeah,
stage
sharing your
um, uh,
story.
to speak. Correct. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, sharing my story, getting people to move more and look after themselves more and look after one another more. So that's definitely a passion. And working with more companies, be it smaller companies or larger companies, and helping them achieve their goals. So this is definitely where the growth is. The running part's pretty established. I have a good setup. The future might also be that I hire coaches to help me. so I'm not on my own as the only coach, and also bring my wife in more in the background. She's more the background kind of person. I'm like
Mhm.
the going out. She's a little bit not shy, but you know, she wouldn't be comfortable, of course, in front of an audience talking. Whereas I
Mhm.
love it. It's like, yeah, that's for me. That's good. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is where the growth is for me.
Yeah.
Getting
Mhm.
on more stages, getting in front of more people, building that network, and just spreading the vibes. So
Yeah. And awareness as well.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have to correct. Yeah, there's so much going on
Mm.
that we can read so much, and I'm a fan of social media like the next person, but there's we always have to take a lot of the information with a pinch of salt, huh?
Yeah. That's right. And one last question for you. If you can give your younger self or maybe our younger audience a piece of advice, what would it be?
Phew, wow. Okay, I'm not prepared for that one. That's a great question. I mean, look, I made a lot of things and I've lived my life. I think the best advice, because I
Mm-hmm.
have a younger self in my family. My daughter's 23, uh,
Yeah.
and the advice I always give is, I think, nothing to do with what we spoke about now. I think travel, meeting people,
Travel.
build, yeah,
Oh.
globally, just get uncomfortable. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
two things I would say: travel and get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That'll get you so far. That's where the resilience is: being uncomfortable and dealing
Mm.
with it, because we have so much comfort around us. It's crazy. As soon as something doesn't go our way, we panic. It's like, it's crazy. It's like, it is what it is. A flight gets cancelled, it's the end of the world. No, the end of the world is if this flight comes down too
Yeah.
fast. That's the end of the world. So I think, yeah, but live your life when you're young
Mm-hmm.
and build up on that. I think, yeah, travel, meet people, any culture, any religion, doesn't matter, any interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be my, yeah.
Oh.
And I'm lucky I did that. So
Mm-hmm.
I traveled everywhere and it was great. So I would always do that again. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like your two piece of advice because, like, for now, I'm also trying to travel a little bit more since I moved here to Australia, and then meeting new people as well, like meeting all of you in the speaking boot camp. So that's really amazing. I never know that I will do something like this. And also, I really like the second piece of advice where you say, be comfortable of not getting uncomfortable. Was it?
Correct. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because my previous guest speaker also she shared the same thing, and I'm surprised,
Good.
like because yeah, like there's quite a few people that was sharing the same thing, and I'm really impressed with that. And yes, yeah, I mean for all our audience here, if you want to do something different, go for it because it's your time to do it. Just don't wait for
Exactly.
the
Very, very true.
there's no perfect moment for that.
No, that no, correct. If you wait for the perfect moment, it'll never come.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Tomorrow never
Yeah.
comes. It's like sometimes, oh, I'll do this tomorrow, I'll do this tomorrow, and something else happens. That part of tomorrow that you were hoping for might never come, or will never come actually. So, yeah,
Yeah, that's right. The time is short, and yeah, it's about 30 minutes now. And yeah, I mean, that's a really inspiring conversation that I had with you here, Mario. And your journey from being a bigger size and now into an ultra trail runner and becoming a coach is a testament to the power of resilience and dedication. And to my audience over here, if you are ready to start your own transformation or just looking for the extra push on your path, Mario's insight is a reminder that no goal is out of reach with the right mindset. So thank you, Mario, once again for sharing your story and wisdom with us. And thank you for our listeners for tuning in. Don't forget to follow the Unshakable Growth for more episodes filled with motivation and personal growth tips. Until next time, keep pushing forward and remember, you are capable of amazing things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Esti.
Thanks for tuning in the Unshakable Growth. Stay unshakable, and I'll catch you in the next episode.